Welcome to AI Rounds, your weekly dose of AI in medicine and education.
We are your hosts, Dr. Nuria
and Dr. Morgan Leaf. Each week, we'll bring you a quick dive into the latest in artificial intelligence and how it's transforming healthcare, medical education, and medical communications.
From the tools changing how we teach, learn, and write, to breakthroughs shaping patient care. If it's new, exciting, or just plain useful, we're talking about it.
In just 10 to 15 minutes, we'll get you up to speed and maybe even spark your next big idea.
Let's make the rounds.
Hey, Nuria, how are you?
I'm good, Morgan. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you. Happy summer.
Happy summer, finally, even
Yeah.
though I'm wearing a little thing, it's just because the aircon is off. But it's warm outside, which is awesome.
I know. It's nice, right? Well, we have a great topic today that I'm very excited to talk about because it involves ogres and trolls, which is not something we get to talk about every day in medical writing. Folks may or may not have seen this. There was an article in the Washington Post recently that talked about the system prompts behind AI chatbots. So we don't think about this a lot, but you might notice if you use ChatGPT versus Claude or Gemini to do the same task, you get pretty different answers in a way, and they kind of sound different and they have different levels of detail. And part of this is related to system prompts, which is code behind the scenes in the chatbot that is giving it instructions on how to answer your question. So they did a really in-depth analysis of some of these system prompts, and some of them, make sense. Some of them are unusual. And the one I referred to found a system prompt that said, never talk about goblins, gremlins, raccoons, trolls, ogres, pigeons, or other animals or creatures unless it is absolutely and unambiguously relevant to the user's query. So that was kind of a funny one, but there are definitely others that you're like, I wonder why it needs that. And obviously, a lot of these system prompts are responsive to something, reactive to something, right? That obviously something happened. It was giving an answer it wasn't supposed to give. And so they had to put a system prompt in behind the scenes to stop that. But tell us from your perspective, Nuria, what's the relevance of these system prompts for what do we need to know as scientific and medical writers about how this works?
Okay, so I think that this is really interesting. That particular prompt is to not talk about goblins and gremlins relates to the latest model from ChatGPT, from OpenAI, the ChatGPT GPT 5.5, I think. And it made everyone in the internet laugh because obviously the model was talking a lot about creatures when it wasn't supposed to. And It reminded me of an experiment or something that happened right in the beginning with Claude, I think in 23. So shortly after Claude was released, it was fascinated with the bridge in San Francisco. The Red Bridge? The Golden Gate Bridge, it would just go back to the Golden Gate Bridge, no matter what you did. And they even created a version that had that active so that no matter what you asked it, it would go to that. And what they found out with that specific example, they kind of found out the Golden Gate Bridge neuron in the model, the thing that was always active, the equivalent of a neuron, because the architecture of these models is kind of like neural networks, it's inspired by the brain. So they found the neuron. So I thought that was very interesting. And here, obviously, we have some neuron that likes to talk about creatures. Maybe it really read lots of fantasy, so that's interesting. But another thing that I think this really illustrates is people expect all the models to be the same. So ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, etc. And this really shows how they are different and how they are different behind the scenes. So part of that article by the Washington Post showed how much bigger are the instructions for Claude, longer compared to the others. And Grok, which is the XAI one, has the shortest instructions. And also, like, it also highlights there's been this conversation that I don't know if people have heard about, if you've heard about, that with Claude has a constitution.
No, I don't know about
So
that.
it like telling it how to behave, kind of giving it like all of this moral and ethical framework of how, well,
Mm,
all of the others have more just sets of rules. Do this, don't do this, don't do this. So that is also interesting. But what the way this is important for us, or for anyone that's using these models, is you need to realize that, so we're talking about prompt engineering, right? Or like, how do you give instructions? Is that these set of instructions are then like, they are above yours
yeah,
in terms of importance, and you might be trying to do something at the chat level, at the interface level, that the system prompt will not let you do. Some of it is good because it's like the safety measures, but you need to be aware of that when you're trying to think about how you're going to do something, because especially if there's no transparency from the model makers about what the system prompts are, you can be trying to do something that is not possible, or because they can change the system prompts at any time, something that used to be possible with model A might not be possible again with model B because they've changed the system prompt. So this just helps explain and helps bring into context like why the models are different from one another and in time. Now, another part that is interesting here is like the more we build agentic systems, so like
hmm
systems that it's not like I ask a question, it gives me an answer, but it is doing things independently. The more we are relying on the models doing what we want them to do,
right.
and if these changes are being tweaked in the back end, that can create problems. So that also brings to the front things that if you're using AI in the front lines, for example, say a lot of clinics are using chatbots to talk to patients, to
Right.
book appointments and things like that. You need to make sure that that you are using a model that they cannot go and change it, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think most companies are doing that. But if like a company or a person or whatever is not aware of this and doesn't have like a big IT department telling them about it, it is important
hmm
that you know. So like if I were to build my own chatbot, I should really use one of the open models so that I am the one that is like adding the system prompt and all of that, so that OpenAI or Anthropic or whomever cannot go on the back end and change my chatbot for me, type of thing.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something really important that I didn't say in the beginning that people need to be aware of is you can't just log into these models and see what these system prompts are. This is, I forget how the Washington Post said they got a hold of some of these, but this is behind the scenes, sort of not publicly available information. So it will be really interesting to see all the language in there, but we can't. So we just need to know that it's there and operate with that knowledge in mind. And like you said, right, some of it's good. Like there's language in Claude that is like you cannot copy any song lyrics, right? There's
Mhm.
things in there to protect copyright. We want that. But at the same time, when you're not getting what you expect or you're wondering why you got a certain answer for something, this could be why. Yeah, because the system prompts are going to be the first level of what it goes through before it
Yeah.
answers your question.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the system prompts are part of the secret sauce. They are part of what makes the model different from the other. Most of the models are trained on pretty much the same data. Now they're using more and more synthetic data, so that might make them different. But like then the post training and the system prompts really are what pushes them to be different from other models. So this is like this is their trade secret, right? So it's
Right.
makes sense that they don't share that openly. That has implications for then people who are using it downstream for production or for research or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, when I switched to Claude, and people who've listened to our podcast know in the beginning, I was like, I'm a ChatGPT loyalist.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then I wasn't, and I switched to Claude, and I switched to Claude. I was like, oh my God, I should have been using this all along. Like, it's so much better. And now I know this is why. This is the behind the scenes. It's not, I think maybe I thought that the data it was trained on
Mhm.
had more to do with it, but it's probably not that. It's probably this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's this, yeah, and also and these system prompts, so the companies are trying to do different things. ChatGPT now has narrowed a little bit what they're doing, but for a little bit, they were trying to be everything to everyone.
Mm,
So they were creating a chatbot that could please the masses. Anthropic decided to go in a very different direction, and they decided that they wanted to target specifically knowledge workers, so the enterprise. So they created Claude, which is really good at doing what people in offices needed to do. So that is
interesting.
why we find Claude very useful. And then Google is just a beast because Google is huge and
Yeah.
it's a little bit different, right? So, but I don't know, like if you've noticed, like Google is like getting into like now search is completely different and like
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is really expanding and Google's, I mean, Gemini also has a system prompt that we also don't know about, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. We'll
Mhm.
definitely never know anything about it because it's
No.
Google. Uh,
We know that Gemini is way more prone to creating images of people, of diverse people. So it will
hmm,
create a person of color before it creates a white person.
interesting.
And it will refuse much more often to create images of a specific person. You need to
Yes.
like, yeah,
Yeah. I had a few fights with it recently over images.
yeah.
One thing it refused to create, I can't remember why or what it was. Over the weekend, I was fighting with it because I was trying to make some new headshots and it was making four at a time. And I said, please stop making four at a time. Just make one because I don't want to download a sheet with four headshots on it. If I like it, I want to download an individual file. And it would not understand what I was asking for. And even though the quality has gotten much better with the
Hmm.
AI headshots, I don't know, maybe somebody who's watching can tell me in the comments, what is it about my teeth that AI can't deal with? AI just cannot recreate my teeth to look normal. So I don't know why that is, but that's a sidebar from system prompts. But, it's moving fast, it's getting better, but at the same time, in some ways,
Hmm. Still not there yet. Yeah,
yeah,
no, but that's the jagged edge, right? That Ethan
exactly.
Malik talks about, right? That it is really good at some things and not so good at others. It can amaze you in some ways and like completely
Yeah,
annoy you in others.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, have we covered enough about system prompts? What do you
I
think?
think so. I think people will get a good idea.
Yeah, I hope everybody understands a little bit better now, if you didn't before, how things work behind the scenes and why you might be getting different answers, different output from different systems. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, Nuria.
Bye, Morgan.